Hi everyone, welcome to this video. This is a Math 01 video from Chapter 3, Section 2, where we learn how to use proportions to perform unit conversions. So as you can see here, there's an outline of the steps that we can use to solve these types of problems. And down here we have some basic conversion facts. But rest assured that if you're taking a test or an exam or anything like that, these conversion facts will be given to you. They're not something that you need to commit to memory for this course. So let's just go ahead and jump in and get started and do our first example. So this is asking us to convert 5 feet to inches, and we're going to use the conversion fact that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. So remember from the last video, we have a known ratio and an unknown ratio. And remember, another technique or method is to circle things that are important. So we are converting 5 feet to inches. Do we know how many inches are in a foot? Well, right now, we don't. So we're going to call this x. Okay? And again, over here, we have our known ratio, which is 12 inches to 1 foot. And you can put either fraction on the left-hand side, it doesn't matter. So if I want to convert 5 feet to inches, I'm going to say that there are x inches in 5 feet. Okay? And just like our last video, without even looking at the rest of the information, I'm just going to go ahead and write out the units, because remember, whatever units you have upstairs on the left, they have to match what is on the right-hand side. So likewise with the bottom, right, if we have inches on the bottom, we have to have inches on the bottom over here. Okay? So let's fill in our known ratio. Our known ratio is that in 1 foot, we have 12 inches. Okay? And if you want to change feet to foot, you can do that. Okay? So we have 5 over x is equal to 1 over 12. We cross multiply, we have 5 times 12 is equal to 1x. So x is 60. Now I want to make a note here at this point. Many of my students say, I could probably do this problem in my head. I could probably do it my own way without setting up a proportion to solve it. And that's absolutely true. But what I want you to think about and remember, especially for the purposes of a test, is that the reason that this piece of information, right, this topic is covered in this chapter is to reinforce what's being taught in this chapter, which is how to solve proportions. So even if you could do this in your head, even if you could do it without showing work, you still need to get into the habit, into practice of showing, setting up the problem like this and writing it as a proportion and then using cross multiplication to solve the proportion. Okay? All right, let's keep going. So it says convert 20 inches. So I'm going to circle 20 inches to feet. Okay, and again, we're not sure how many feet that is. So we're going to put x here. And then our known ratio is that there's 12 inches in 1 foot. So let's get started. So I'm going to write 20 inches over here. Okay, and my unknown quantity is feet. I don't know how many feet that is. Okay, over here I'm going to have my known ratio. And again, before I even look at what that says or read the rest of the problem, I'm going to go ahead and fill in my units so that this matches that, and so that the feet matches the other feet. Okay? So it says that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. Again, you can change this to foot if you want. Okay? So we go ahead and solve our proportion, just like we have been in previous problems, just using cross multiplication. So we have 20 times 1 is equal to 12x. Divided by 12, divided by 12, and you're welcome to use a calculator to solve this if you like, and you can do that. You get 20 over 12 is equal to x. Okay, we need to reduce this even if we decide to leave it as an improper fraction. Okay, so we have 20 over 12 is equal to x. 20 and 12 are both divisible by 2. So that becomes 10 over 6. Okay, they're still divisible by 2. So it becomes 5/3. Okay, and then we actually want to change this to a mixed number. So this would be 1 2/3 of a foot. Okay, I would not require my students to do this, but if you wanted to figure out how many inches are in 2/3 of a foot, you could do that. Okay, but the answers I would be looking for on a test or quiz would be 5/3 or 1 2/3. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, it says convert 3 3/4 pounds to ounces. Okay, so ounces is our unknown quantity, so we're going to put an X there, and our known ratio is that 1 pound is 16 ounces. So we have 3 3/4 pounds. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have 3 3/4 pounds is some number of ounces. We don't know how many. And we do know that pounds has to be upstairs over here. And over here, it has to be ounces. So in 1 pound, there are 16 ounces. So let's stand back and look at this problem. What do we need to do first? Well, we have this mixed number. So the first thing we have to do is we have to take 3 3/4 and we have to convert that to an improper fraction. Okay, so we're going to have 15/4 divided by x is equal to 1 over 16. So just like always, we can cross multiply. We have 1x is equal to 15 over 4 times 16. And if you want, you can write it as 16 over 1. It's totally up to you. Okay, you can multiply first if you'd like. I like to simplify things before I multiply because then I can actually do the math in my head. So 15 times 4 is 60. So that means that 3 3/4 pounds is the same as 60 ounces. And that's our answer. Let's see if we have time for a few more examples. It says convert 2.5 hours to minutes. So this is my known quantity. Okay, I don't know how many minutes that is, so I'm going to put X here. But I do know that 1 hour contains 60 minutes. So let's set up our proportion. So we have 2.5 hours is X minutes. And again, before I look at anything on the other side, I'm going to make sure that hours is still on top and minutes is still on the bottom. So we have 1 hour is 60 minutes. So we have our proportion. We have 2.5 over something is equal to 1 over 60. And then we can cross multiply and solve. So we have 1x is equal to 150 minutes. So x is equal to 150. Let's do another example. This time we're asked to convert 120 fluid ounces to cups. And that's going to be our variable. Okay, and 1 cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces. So we're going to have 120 fluid ounces over x cups is equal to, and again, I always write out my units so I don't accidentally switch them. So we have 8 fluid ounces is 1 cup. So we have 120 over x is equal to 8 over 1. We cross multiply. We have 120 is equal to 8x divided by 8. Okay, and you can use your calculator. So we find out that there are 15 cups in 120 fluid ounces. So again, I said previously in this video, you could probably do that, right, just by dividing 120 by 8. But the whole point of inserting this topic into 3.2 is to reinforce the skill of solving proportions. So on a test, you need to make sure that you're showing the work of setting up the proportion and solving it this way, even if you could probably do it without the equation. All right, let's do this one last problem and then we'll end this video. So it says convert 30 quarts to gallons. So gallons is our unknown quantity, and we're going to use the fact that 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon. Okay, so we have 30 quarts and X gallons. And again, before I even look at anything else, I want to make sure that quarts stays on top and gallons stays on the bottom. So we have 4 quarts in 1 gallon. So we have our proportion we can cross multiply. Okay, and I believe, you can check my math here, that we find out that there are 7.5 gallons in 1 quart. And that's it.